The evening felt ordinary when Daniel locked the door of his small apartment and stepped outside. The cool air brushed against his face, carrying the smell of rain that hadn't yet arrived. He had worked a long shift at the electronics store and felt tired, but he was excited to meet his younger sister, Lily, for dinner. They had planned it a week earlier, something they tried to do often, especially since their parents lived far away now. To Daniel, Lily wasn't just a sister, she was the person who kept him grounded, the one who always reminded him to slow down and breathe. He checked his watch as he walked toward his car. He was 10 minutes behind schedule, but he wasn't too worried. Lily would probably be early, as always. She liked being on time, something she often teased him about. He got into his car, started the engine, and slowly pulled out onto the road. Traffic was heavier than usual for the evening, but the sky was getting darker, and more people were heading home. Streetlights flickered on as he drove, painting the streets with a soft orange glow. Everything felt normal, just another day, another drive, another simple moment in life. As he reached the main road that led downtown, he noticed something unusual ahead. A traffic signal at a major intersection kept blinking, first red, then green, then nothing, and red again. It was flickering like a dying light bulb fighting to stay alive. Daniel slowed down and watched it carefully. "That doesn't look right," he murmured to himself. The signal clearly wasn't working properly, but cars were still moving through the intersection. Some slowed down, others sped up, and a few simply ignored the confusion altogether. Daniel took a deep breath, kept both hands on the steering wheel, and prepared to approach cautiously. His phone buzzed. He glanced at it for half a second. A message from Lily. "Almost there. Don't rush. See you soon." He smiled and put the phone aside without replying. He didn't want to take any risks, especially with that broken signal up ahead. As he got closer to the intersection, he saw a small silver car waiting to make a turn. The driver looked uncertain, probably just as confused by the blinking lights as he was. The cars on the cross street seemed unsure too, some stopping, some inching forward. It was the kind of moment where one person's impatience or one wrong guess could lead to something terrible. Daniel slowed to a near stop. Safety first, that was always what his father taught him. When things were unclear, slow down. When people around you seemed confused, stop and wait. It was simple, but it had kept him safe more than once. He looked to his left and right. A black SUV had already stopped. A white sedan was hesitating. Everything seemed under control for the moment. But then another car appeared. A red hatchback coming quickly from the right side. It wasn't slowing down. If anything, it looked like it was accelerating. Daniel's heart jumped. "Why isn't he stopping?" he whispered. The red car kept coming. Fast. Too fast for the intersection. Too fast for the broken signal. Too fast for anyone to react in time. Daniel froze for a second. Should he stop completely? Should he press the gas and clear the lane? His mind was racing faster than his heartbeat, trying to choose between two bad options. He pressed the brakes harder, hoping the red car would pass before he reached the center of the intersection. For a moment, it seemed like they would miss each other. The red car was just ahead, racing past the blinking lights. He felt a small wave of relief. But then the silver car, the one waiting to turn, made its move. The driver misread the moment. Maybe she thought the red car was slowing down. Maybe she thought she had the right of way. Maybe the broken signal confused her just a little too much. Whatever the reason, she began her turn. Slowly, carefully, but at the worst possible time. Daniel's relief vanished. "No, no, no, stop," he shouted, even though no one could hear him. The red hatchback swerved, honking loudly. The silver car froze. The driver's face lit with panic. Daniel felt his whole body tighten as he watched the two cars slide dangerously across the intersection. And then the red car swerved again, this time toward Daniel's lane. The world felt slow, heavy, quiet. Daniel slammed the brakes, but the tires screeched. He gripped the steering wheel hard, feeling the car jerk violently. The red hatchback spun out while trying to avoid the silver car, and now it was heading straight toward him like a storm he couldn't escape. His breath caught, his chest tightened. Time moved like thick mud. The impact came with a loud, crushing sound. His car jerked backward, metal grinding against metal. The seatbelt tightened across his chest, holding him in place as everything shook. His mind blurred, colors mixed. The world outside his window spun in every direction. When the car finally stopped moving, silence settled in, heavy and unreal. Daniel couldn't understand what had just happened. His hands were trembling. His heart raced. He blinked several times before the world slowly came back into focus. He felt sore, shaken, but alive. His first thought wasn't about his car. It wasn't about the people around him. It was Lily. His phone was somewhere on the floor. He reached down weakly, searching for it with shaky fingers. When he found it, the screen was cracked, but it still worked. He opened it. 3 missed messages from Lily appeared. On my way. Traffic is heavy. You good? The signals downtown are acting weird. He stared at her last message. She had seen the broken signals, too. He tried to reply, his hands shaking so much he could hardly type. Before he could finish, a stranger tapped on his window. Daniel flinched, then slowly turned his head. A man in a blue jacket looked at him with worried eyes. Are you okay? Can you get out? Daniel nodded weakly. He unbuckled his seatbelt and opened the door carefully. The cool air hit his face again, but this time it made him dizzy. He stepped out and saw the full scene. The red hatchback was stopped sideways a few meters away. The driver, a young man, maybe in his 20s, was sitting on the ground with his hands over his face. He looked terrified, not hurt, but overwhelmed. The silver car was slightly dented on the side. The woman inside was crying softly, repeating the same words over and over. I thought it was my turn. I thought it was my turn. People started gathering around. Someone called emergency services. 2 others tried to calm the crying woman. Another man helped the red car's driver stand up. Daniel felt his chest tighten again, not because of pain, but because of the fear of what could have happened. What if he had accelerated? What if he had been a few seconds earlier or later? What if the silver car had turned faster? What if the red car had hit him harder? His life could have been completely different, broken, gone, all because a signal didn't work. And people assumed they knew what others were doing. When the ambulance and police arrived, they checked everyone. Daniel had bruises on his chest and shoulder from the seatbelt, but nothing serious. The others were shaken, but physically okay too. As he sat on the curb, waiting for the police to finish their reports, he looked up at the traffic signal again. It still flickered. Red, off. Green, red, off. He felt a wave of frustration. This stupid signal, he muttered. But deep down, he knew the signal wasn't the only problem. The real problem was how people reacted when things became unclear. Everyone rushed. Everyone assumed. Everyone kept moving without thinking about anyone else. His phone buzzed again. This time, he answered immediately. Daniel, where are you? Lily's worried voice filled his ear. I was in an accident, he said quietly. What? Are you okay? Tell me where you are, I'm coming. He gave her the location. As he waited, he closed his eyes and took a deep breath. He felt alive, grateful, shaken, and suddenly aware of how fragile every moment of life really was. When Lily arrived, she ran toward him and hugged him tightly. I was so scared, she said, her voice trembling. I'm okay, Daniel whispered, hugging her back. I'm really okay. But deep inside, He knew he wasn't the same. One broken signal had shown him how quickly life could change. How one moment of confusion, one rushed decision, one wrong assumption could break lives. Maybe not physically, maybe not visibly, but emotionally, mentally, permanently. That night, after the police finished and the tow truck took his car away, Daniel returned home with Lily. He sat down on the couch, still in disbelief. Everything felt different, heavier, more important. Lily sat beside him. "What happened?" she asked gently. He told her everything, how the signal was broken, how the silver car turned, how the red car swerved, and how everything happened too fast for anyone to fix. When he finished, Lily held his hand. "It wasn't your fault." "I know," Daniel said, "but it made me realize something." "What?" "That life is so delicate. We forget how quickly everything can change. We forget to be patient. We forget to watch out for each other. And sometimes we don't realize that one small moment can break everything." Lily rested her head on his shoulder. "But you're still here," she whispered. "And that matters more than anything." Daniel nodded. He knew she was right. He was lucky. They all were. That night, before going to bed, he looked at himself in the mirror. He saw the bruise from the seatbelt, dark, painful, but a reminder that safety mattered. Decisions mattered. Awareness mattered. He promised himself he would never rush again. He would never assume others would make the right choice. And he would always remain cautious, especially when things were unclear. Because sometimes it wasn't just about avoiding an accident. Sometimes it was about protecting a life, your own or someone else's. Moral: when things are unclear on the road or in life, slow down. Be patient. Don't assume others will make the right decision. A single moment of caution can save a lifetime from heartbreak.